Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's 30 Minutes program. I'm really pleased to have Chris Nelson. If you haven't heard that name, you haven't been to Bethel University, you don't know what you're missing. And I want to just say to Chris, first off, congratulations on all of your accolades. And that's really what it is. You have had so many good things happen to you because of Bethel basketball, the university there, and being able to get a group of people in this area that want to play for Bethel University. Congratulations on your latest thing. Bethel University has said to you, congratulations, you are the best.
Well, I appreciate that a great deal. Thanks for having me. Bethel's been good to us. Been there 20 plus years, 20 as head coach, 5 as assistant, and always tell people we've been happy, not stuck in McKenzie. My wife is the former middle school coach, but PE teacher, and she gets to travel with us. So Bethel's been good. Local high school basketball, as good as anybody. West Tennessee supports women's basketball, and it's just been really good. You're
a local guy. You went to school in Gibson County. Let's hear about it.
Yeah, Gibson County, also good. Yorkville, Tennessee is where I'm from, / Neboville, and all the tradition at Gibson County with women's basketball. I was a basketball player. We had some success, but had to go up against the Coach Whitby's at Obion County and Coach Cisco at Union City and all those great teams. But our women's basketball has always been great. So just growing up in that heritage, you just learn to appreciate it. You know what great basketball is, and all the runs to the state tournament, not just with Gibson County, but Gleason, Bradford, Martin, Westview. You're just used to great basketball.
Chris, and I'm going to refer to you as your first name, but yeah. I feel like I'm missing because I don't say coach. But I always wonder what made you want to be a basketball player.
Player-wise, just growing up in Yorkville, my uncle, he would get me out there to play ball, and I would travel to watch Gibson County. So I knew I always wanted to be a basketball player. But obviously, the dream dies. You get a little older, graduating high school. You got to have a choice what you're going to do with your career. And I just was fortunate to get in middle school coaching, high school coaching as a freshman boys coach at Gibson County, and then, parlayed that into Bethel as a graduate assistant. And I just knew coming in, I had to make a choice. Was I going to do women's basketball or men's basketball? But when I was 21, I looked like I was 15. I aged later on in life, but I just thought, man, if I'm going to be looking up at 6'7", 6'8" guys, I don't know if they're going to listen to me right away. So I just jumped into the women's game.
I've got to go back just a little bit longer here. So what position did you play?
Point guard / shooting guard. We had some success at Gibson County. So I played for the great Coach Scott Boland, who went on, had a great career in Greene County Tech and on in Arkansas. But we had our struggles there at Gibson County. So all that adversity we went through trying to win, playing those positions, prepared obviously for a coaching career. He actually come over and refereed some of our middle school and high school camps, so I got to hang out with him. But he's really the one that got me into coaching.
Who was your most influential person in high school? Was it the principal, maybe?
Oh, that's a good call. I had an English teacher named Joe Palmer. He was absolutely wonderful. The word egregious always stuck out to me because I would come in his classroom and he would call me Mr. Egregious. Very classy gentleman. Numerous other people, Rory Henson, who still works there in the admin department. Just numerous people throughout Gibson County. But I will say the name Bo Booth. When you walk in Gibson County Gymnasium, he knew how to put on a district tournament, a region tournament. Mr. Booth was just awesome to me. And, I'm pretty sure the gym, that the gym is named after him, isn't it? So when you think of Gibson County, you think of B.O. Bo Booth.
Yeah, I'll tell you, one of the last conversations that I had with him, he was with David Byers, the basketball coach at Westview, as many of you know. And then I got to see him watching a Westview game at Westview High School. And he always knew who I was, and he always made you feel good about being around him.
Yeah, obviously he ran the school at a high clip, but any tournament, how organized. When you get there, you got to have your press row ready, and it was up top around the loop up top at Gibson County. But I'm sure you called many games there. He was always organized, and always heard he had a great hospitality room, so everybody likes to go there.
What was your major in high school and in college?
Well, in high school, I knew then I didn't want to do math, and I knew going into college, if I wasn't going to do math, I thought about PE, obviously. I thought it'd just be more accessible if I was a history major. So I went in a history major, secondary education. And if I wouldn't have got the job at Bethel at 25 years old, President Pricer hired me. I was either fixing to come be Coach Cisco's assistant at Union City or over to Greene County Tech and be a 7th grade geography teacher. So I just got lucky at the time.
Mm-hmm. Do you like teaching?
Well, I never really had the opportunity to actually teach in the classroom. As far as teaching the game of basketball, absolutely love it. I don't know what I would do if I had a real job. Coaching.
Wait a minute, that is a real job. Come on now.
Yeah, I know. It's coaching basketball and teaching the game. Luckily we have a lot of great high school coaches in the area, so I don't have to teach that much once I get them. But as far as the classroom, I never jumped in the classroom. I was admissions officer at Bethel as assistant coach, so I never really truly got to teach in the classroom. I don't know if I'll ever have to one day, but I'll definitely have to go back and study my history if I do.
Well, let me just kind of move down the road a little bit. You fell in love somewhere along the way.
Oh, yeah, fell in love. At first, I thought you meant basketball. No, fell in love. Jennifer Henson Bradford, when we first got married, everybody knew me as Jennifer's husband, not Coach Nelson. I take that with great pride, and I was very, very fortunate to marry someone that loves the game of basketball as much as I do, probably loves it more sometimes, and winning. She won at Bradford with the great Coach David Russell and went on, I think it was 2 state championships she won there, one with Coach Wild, and then went on to Union with Coach Campbell. She was a red shirt, then went on to be a GA for him. So she was at Union 7 years, and that's sort of how we met. They came over to Baker Fieldhouse when we were in the Trans-South my first or second year, and I just sort of talked to her after the game. She was a graduate assistant, and then we crossed paths. I was recruiting Jana Roney, and Union was too, in Obion County, and that's sort of how we met.
You learned from whom?
Coaching-wise, everybody. Learn how to do things or not how to do things. Coach Larry Eddings was at Bethel as assistant coach. Learn from him. Side notes, if it's just looking busy, he would always tell me, dress the part, especially when I was a young basketball coach. Mentioned Coach Scott Boland. That's where I learned the defensive system of man-to-man. He had a lot of great coaches over the years, and it's so wild because when I go to clinics in that area, even some of the number systems they use, I see how that's just been passed down. Fortunate, again, at Gibson County when I was assistant coach, Coach Russell was the women's coach. So I would just watch his practices. I'll never forget I was coaching a freshman game, and I'm young, and I'm just up and down the sideline, probably acting a fool. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm coaching." He said, "What'd you do all week?" I said, "I coached." He said, "Well, you're coaching too hard in the game. You've already done all the work. Let your players do it now." So that always stuck out with me. And, Coach Russell was like that on the sideline. He never really got up a lot. Older in my career, I don't as much, but just watching everybody. We talked about Coach McMillan prior to getting on the air, learn from him, watching all those games. I'll go into Coach Marty Cisco, Jim Whitby, just a love of the game of just watching everybody from the area.
I was looking at the stats, not that I get too excited about them, but someone who has 428 victories, that is a pretty big number.
It's pretty humbling. Just to think, I'm that old to do that because it's really just flown by.
How old are you now?
45. And when I first got the job, the referee came up and said, "Hey, where's your dad at?" And I'm 25, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" He said, "The head coach." I said, "I am the head coach." He goes, "Well, I thought it was another guy." But anyway, the 428, that's sort of surreal. Like I said, as a young coach, it got humbled real quick playing in the Trans-South against Mark Campbell, Gary Van Etta, who was at Trevecca, who was formerly at UT Martin, Joe Reitz at Lambeth, so Dale Nilt-Freed. So you learn how to coach right away. If not, you got to get out of the game. So I learned from a lot of great coaches at that as well.
Tell me about Bethel University. What kind of environment is on that campus?
Well, obviously, like I said, we've stayed there. And it's, we've had some opportunities. I see a lot of coaching friends that'll take lateral moves and maybe unhappy once they get there or chasing something. It's all about the experience. That's what I always sell to our players. It's not where you're at, it's who you're with. And the town of McKenzie, first of all, when I got the job, I would pay attention to the football. And it's like this here, how much the town would support McKenzie football. And that's grandparents and parents. Well, I thought, well, if I can get it or halfway like that here. So we just started recruiting locally. And the town of McKenzie, Carroll County, just supports tremendously. And, going to Bethel about that, like, it's not massively big, but I was at the right place at the right time. We were in the old field house that was built in 1972. And I believe it's 2011, 12, we built the Crisp Arena, which you've called quite a few games in. It's been good to us. But just the professors is one that stand out to me, because if I'd have went to a bigger school, I guess I would have graduated. It just probably taken me a little longer, but just the personal relationship at Bethel and the ties from President Prosser to Walter Butler to our new president now, Perry Molds, who's from Belmont. In all small schools, it's a struggle sometimes, but Bethel's thrive. Carroll County's been good to to Bethel, and Bethel's been good to Carroll County.
Your mentor right now, who is that one person that you go pick up the phone immediately and say, I got to talk to him about this?
Well, it's actually Ginger Colvin, Campbellsville, Kentucky. She's been doing it as long as me. She's been at Campbellsville forever. She's my best friend, I would say, in coaching, but she's just my best friend. She happens to be in our same conference, great coach, just wins a lot of basketball games. And she's had the opportunity to take some Division I jobs, and she's just stayed at Campbellsville because she's only the second coach at Campbellsville. Coach Donna Wise was the head coach. If you go on YouTube, you can find a special they did on Lady Tiger basketball. So that's my go-to, who I always lean on. And then I would also, like I said, I would always come back to Scott Boland. I would always call out, even feel bad I'd have to run if he was listening to this, that I called him by his first name. Coach Boland is who I lean on if I need stuff.
If you've just joined us, we're talking with Coach Chris Nelson. He enters his 20th season as head coach at Bethel University. Got a lot of wins, 428, 214. I don't know how many. I do the math on that. And when I go back here and I keep looking at some of the accolades, and I know this humbles you a little bit at the same time, and you probably don't want us to do all of this, but you've got a 5-time conference coach of the year. And that means something special, I think, more so than because the coaches are the ones that make that determination on who this guy is.
Yeah, it is special to be recognized by your peers. But, when I think of those, I think about those great years, those great teams. And I joke, but I'm actually 100% sincere when I say this. There was 3 years ago, we had an injury to our point guard from Covington, Callan Howard. We lost 13 in a row when she went down. Well, that was a big motivation to get the players we have now. But in 1 year, we went from losing 13 in a row to the Fab Four / Final Four in the NAIA. So you just don't learn how to coach in a year. It's all about players. And if you get the right players that mesh with high character, it pays dividends. And that's the whole secret. When people ask, it's not just to say it humble or coach talk. You get the right players, they can take you a long ways.
I recently had Coach McMillan on the radio with us, the University of Tennessee at Martin women's basketball coach, and we got off on the subject of money. Does Bethel University have to pay for students to come to Bethel University's basketball program?
Obviously, we have scholarships and great scholarships. We're able to make some ends meet through our summer camps. And then, obviously provide the books, the standard stuff. But, the landscape of collegiate sports in general, not just women's basketball at any level, is more of a challenge. Like I would say in 2 or 3 years after this class graduates, it'll be a bigger challenge to get the type of players that we have at Bethel or even the surrounding area. It's a challenge because, used to scholarship is all that mattered. But now, like we had some transfers on the hook this year, and 4 of our transfers, 3 of them asked for money. And we signed the one that did not ask for money because we didn't want to disrespect 2 or 3 of our players that are being sought out now. I get a follower on any type of social media or email. I instantly know what it's about. They're going to reach out about Micah Hart, Mickey Buchanan, even our point guard, so Hallie Turner. So the landscape's way different. So to answer your question, I would say no at the moment. We don't pay our players, but they're well taken care of.
The thing that I don't know that people really understand how very physically that we're talking about big money, really big money, and you can't keep them at a school such as the size of yours or UT Martin. I mean, they just can't turn around and give somebody $50,000 or 25 or whatever that number is.
You hit it on the head. We tried to provide that culture, and I'll brag on this all day about our group. They stay not because of Chris Nelson. They stay because of their teammates. They enjoy, again, we talk about West Tennessee basketball. Our stands are packed. They play with a purpose. We sell that. And then we sell, they enjoy each other. We have a true team. I was on the way back from Sioux City this year, and I was looking at some Division I rosters, and they had one. Some had 0 players. I said, they don't even have a team. I know they have a program. So we sell the fact we have a team. And I tell our kids this, we're not going to hold them, I don't know if this is the right word, we're not going to hold them hostage when it comes to, hey, you have to stay here. Because if somebody starts coming at them with house money or even life-changing money, you got to be honest and say, look, we'll take a real approach. But we've just been fortunate that we can support them enough in the situation we're in, and the offers they have, it doesn't just they're very loyal. It don't change their thought process of wanting to stay. They're committed to each other and the program. So
what you essentially have told me is that nobody's getting any money
right
across the table. And on the other side, what about football and these other sports at Bethel? Do they have any of those problems, or is it all the same?
It's all the same. And, NEIA has been ahead of the game on making sure NIL, we have access to do that. And I'm sure down the road we will do that in order to recruit, in order to keep our players. The biggest thing for me is this year in other sports too, I want to make sure we're taking care of the people that are in-house before we, it's almost disrespectful if we do that to anybody else. But, football's on the same playing level or floor with us and other programs as well. But we try to stay with that way in the league. I asked my coaching friends in the league, they're the same way. But when it comes to Mid-South Conference, it's a lot of Division I players that could have went D1 or have been D1. And, last year we had a 5th-year deal where they could get an NCAA year. So a couple of our teams in our league sent one to Boston College, another one to Purdue Fort Wayne. So we have a lot of Division I players in our league that have either been paid or might get paid if they go somewhere else.
Is it a challenge to have a women's basketball program, men's basketball program at Bethel University, have a high school program at McKenzie High School, West Carroll, Clarksburg, Huntington? I mean, we can go around the circle here, and you want everybody, particularly in Carroll County, and that is you want everybody in Carroll County at least to come see you play. But that's hard to do, particularly when it costs money, bring 4 kids in maybe or 3, and it gets expensive, and you have to make a choice on some of these things.
Mr. Horn, who we just hired, Bethel just hired, Vice President of Athletics, Derek Horn. He's working actually on a package for season tickets this year, reasonable for people to come. Obviously, we have season passes for some of our alumni. And, tournament time, they really pour out, but it does. We, especially if you're playing on the same night. If you're playing on the same night as McKenzie High School, sometimes it really works in our favor because the way our schedules fall in conference, Thursday, Saturday, and then Saturday we'll play a 1 o'clock tip. So that works in our favor. It hurts football a little bit because, if Tennessee football's playing or locally something, maybe our crowds are not as big. But we've just been fortunate in our area. It's been really good for us, our crowd. 2 years ago, we were hosting we did the last 2 years, first and second round, and obviously being a Gibson County alum and a Gibson County fan, that was one of the rare years they didn't make the state tournament 2 years ago. Coach Wilkins made it this year, obviously, but 2 years ago when they didn't make the state, I thought, we're fixing to have a big crowd because our Gibson County connections, and they poured out for that. But during our national tournaments, usually it's usually the first week of the state tournament on the women's side.
When you bring your players together for the first meeting, what do you tell them?
It's going to be fun. I said, winning's hard. If you want to win at a high level, it's extremely hard, but winning's fun. I always tell them it's not about me and it's not about them. We're in it together. I'm not on a power trip to control them or have my thumb on them. I'd heard Popovich say this years back when he recruited his teams, treat them like professionals. They're not high school kids anymore. They are growing into young women, but you just try to treat them as professional as possible. In return, they do the same, respect. And that's the first team meeting. I tell her we have one rule: it's do the right thing. And I've had numerous people like, can you put that in writing, all your rules? I was like, no, just do the right thing. And if you don't know what the right thing is, probably can't be here, or you're going to run till you figure it out. But it's not a power trip. That's why I tell them it's going to be a tremendous amount of fun. We're in it together because I still love coaching. My wife loves it. Our fan base loves it. So let's just enjoy it as much as we can.
How much is Jesus involved with Bethel University?
Tremendous amount. We have a FCA camp coming in next week. Carrie Lanham, Gibson County, UTM. She runs our FCA with Kim Decker. Kim Decker also does that. So they're coming over to an FCA camp during the summer. We'll do a little something next week, 2 days with them. She meets with our players 2 times a month. I think our girls really enjoy that. I do as well, especially older you get, because you just step away from the intensity of maybe a tough week, and it brings things into perspective. Our chaplain at Bethel, they come to all the games. It is. It's what you put into it and how you do it. We have chapel at Bethel, I think it's 3 times a week, and it changes with each class. But, obviously Jesus is very involved with Bethel University.
That's one of the things that a lot of the kids, they want to come play for you, Bethel University, but maybe they haven't had that in their family or in their life or in their church. Yeah,
it could be the smallest thing. And our players now make me a better person. That's not lip service. I was texting one of them last night from Creekwood, Laura Nichols, and she's just a great young Christian woman. They do their own Bible studies on the side. They've done some things on campus, and if I'm available, I try to go watch them or listen to them. So, they help me as much as I help them with that. Like I said, I'm 45, but sometimes they might be stronger in faith than myself or a sister, or maybe I'm stronger in faith than 1 or 2 of them. So we just try to lean on each other. But it's definitely, the good Lord knows. Like I said, we've had a lot of success, but the good Lord knows every time we need humbled or I need humbled.
I don't know that we've had this conversation before, but this is a good time. If you've just joined us, we're talking about a really good guy who loves basketball, women's basketball, Chris Nelson. I should ask beforehand, can you coach boys basketball now?
Yeah, I think I could. I would enjoy it. Just so dedicated to our program, but it's basketball. People, talk about it. Basketball's basketball. In some ways, I like our rules in the women's game, especially collegiately, way better than the men's side, being able to advance the ball, some NBA type stuff. But yeah, no doubt.
Tell me about a schedule this year. What's it looked like?
Well, we've tried to get some Division I opponents, but at the moment, it's a little difficult just with our roster, and I totally get it. We usually play Murray State every other year, and Rochelle Turner's just tremendous job up there.
Doing a pretty good job.
Man, just in high school coach, come over. That shows you basketball's basketball. Well, Missouri Valley, so we'll probably play them next year. Our schedule it starts up a little earlier than D1. We'll start with a Chamber Classic late October. We'll try to avoid the Halloween date and then play Thursday, Friday in October. A couple teams will come over from the Ozarks and Williams Baptist in Arkansas, and then we'll get into conference play. Our conference is not huge, but it's really good, and we'll get into conference play in January. We have a big classic. We're going to go to Miami right after Christmas break. Our girls are looking forward to play a couple teams out of Florida. So
who pays the bill for that?
We're going to fundraise for that one. Just because we're going to fly down, we'll just do a couple of fundraisers for it to build that. And I think our players deserve it. We try to take a big trip every other year. Been to Phoenix a few times, played out in Vegas, you name it, Daytona, Chicago. So we try to always do something with our players and also see different basketball across the country. Because right now, when you get out to that Sweet 16, the Elite 8/Fab 4, a lot of the Iowa teams are really deep out there and really good. So we just try to see different type of teams in different parts of the country.
Is it going to be a competitive schedule this year? And I'm talking about the conference.
Yeah, a conference. 6 of our 7 teams obviously made the 64-team tournament. That's one thing that NAIA does good or great. I'm on the NAIA selection committee, and we do a legit 64-team tournament. Breaks down host sites. We've been fortunate to host the last couple of years, and then the final place is in Sioux City, like it used to be in Jackson, Tennessee. But yeah, competitive schedule. Especially this group deserves it. Coming off, I think we were 28-6 last year, and lose one player in Madison Hart, great Madison Hart from Gibbs County. But we deserve to have a tough schedule, to be, I won't say exposed is the word, but to be challenged early to see where we're at, and hopefully don't grow weary in winning and the great work. So it better be challenging anyway.
This may sound a little bit personal, but I'm good on these questions. And that question is, you and your wife spending that much time together, who makes the decisions?
It's very fortunate that that's actually easy. You know, I joke, but I'm dead serious about this. I would say coaches and spouses coach together. I was like, well, that's weird. And I looked up, I said, well, that's me. We do the same thing. I guess it's not weird, but it happened years back. She was just sort of behind the bench and on the sideline taking a couple pictures, and we were had a lead and blowing a lead, and I looked at her and said, we good? She gave me a thumbs up. About 2 minutes later, she shook her head no. So after the game, I was like, why don't you just start setting the bench? And the simplicity of her thought process in a game that I'm overthinking, say, hey, try this or do this. And our players really lean on her. Like if you our assistants are great. Like I said, Cal and Howard, they have a great relationship. And so while we're doing a scout, I let them handle the scout. There's another gentleman, Kevin Beck, that works with us. So they just work together, and they'll look at me like, Coach, what do you think? And then they'll ultimately look at Jen like, you confirm with that, Jen? And she'll give the nod, and we just roll with it.
Was that part of David Russell coming out of her onto your court?
I really believe that wholeheartedly. Just she's got the dog in her. I don't know if you can say that about your wife, but when I say that, I mean it's black and white. It's either win or lose. I can lean on her and say, am I being too hard on them? And now that I'm older, she usually tells me I'm not being hard enough. She knows when I need to back off of them. So she's so vital. I could talk all day about the value she brings to our program, but it's really to our girls off the court.
You have some local girls that are coming back on your schedule and on your team. Tell me who they are if you can.
Well, I'll start just here in Martin. Kylie Alexander is going to be a junior, and she's been working all summer. Works everywhere, has a job, but she's been working individual workouts. She's so motivated. She's starting nursing school. I think this will be her breakout year. She's sort of our Steve Kerr / John Paxson. She's our shooter. I think she'll have a big year. Be remiss, obviously, if we don't mention Micah Hart, Gibson County. She can, if it's chaos in the game, she's just composed. You know, she clipped over 1,000 last year. She was up for National Player of the Year. She's just a special talent. And you go up the road here in McCracken County, we were very, very, very fortunate to get Mickey Buchanan, and she's right there with Micah. When I was recruiting Mickey, she had a high school teammate. They compared to Batman and Robin. I said, no, we're going to have Batman and Batman when it comes to Micah and Mickey. So it's just a great duo. MJ Simmons from Community, who Martin Westview put out in the state tournament. That's how I found MJ Simmons. She's our senior leader. I mentioned Hallie Turner, our point guard, earlier. Kylie Reynolds, who played at McKenzie. All these kids won state championships or played in the state finals, but we've been fortunate. We have a girl, Ada from Murray State, and then Grace Billington is transferring from UT Martin, who had a great game against Tennessee when they played this year. So, man, we have a great roster loaded with talent and then loaded with great people as well.
It's been great having you on the radio today. And I would say this about my good friend, Justin Jones, who is one of your best friends, but we have fun when we talk to our coaches, much like with you. But the real cool part about it is watching you coach and to broadcast your ball games, but more than importantly, getting the kids where you need them to be.
You're right. You mentioned Justin Jones, and you said it for air. You surround yourself with the right people. That all those people can make you look good. That's what our players do. That's what our staff does. That's what Bethel and McKenzie do. So I just appreciate the coverage you do for us, because I mean there's a lot of teams around here, and you just take time always during the year and now to do that. So we appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Chris Nelson, everybody. He is the women's basketball coach at Bethel University in McKenzie, Tennessee. Hope you've enjoyed our program. I have, and hope you will too. Paul Tinkle, 30 Minutes, pre-recorded.
You've been listening to 30 Minutes, a community affairs program on Thunderbolt Radio. You can listen to this broadcast and others anytime by visiting thunderboltradio.com and following the Thunderbolt Radio and Digital YouTube page. Thanks for listening.